One of the core features in Minecraft is mining. It's in the name. But today, we're gonna try to beat the Ender Dragon without doing that. You see, in a Minecraft Superflat world, there are no such things as mines or underground caves. The entire world is one flat surface of grass as far as the eye can see, with villages, nether portals, and other structures dotting the landscape. Almost any loot we get, but especially ores, stones, and crafted materials, will all have to be borrowed from friendly villagers, meaning that this run will be scavengers living off the land. Our world starts in a grassland so flat, it looks like the front yard of every American suburban home. A handful of villages near the spawn give us plenty of options, so we head in the direction of one, enter our first home, and start our first string of borrowing villagers' loot. We grab plenty of food to start, and decide to go in the direction of a toolsmith villager, thinking that maybe getting an early game stone pickaxe might help us out. But I stole that emerald fair and square from the chest, and decided to take it back before I accidentally almost loot a nearby bakery. We take a brisk jog among the jumping slimes and head towards our next village, and we decide to hit up another chest on the second floor of a nearby house. But clearly, this is some hipster house, since they love to store apples, flowers, and trees. But I steal their only emerald and their book, just to make sure they have nothing left. Ignoring the OSHA violation and very large safety hazard, the next village has a blacksmith building, complete with a one-eyed blacksmith, with a chest inside gives me nearly a full set of iron armor, an iron sword, and 2 gold ingots. And 3 pieces of bread the blacksmith was probably gonna have for lunch, but not anymore. I go ahead and start borrowing some of the village's wheat when the town security decides to jump in, and I end up having to slice and dice some moldy cheese cubes that just keep multiplying right before my eyes. I take on some more wheat without any more slimes left to bother me, and return to the village to see that instead of bothering me, all the slimes have instead decided to bother the Iron Golem, who has 10 times more health for some reason. I help out the Iron Golem, who I've decided to name Freddy, and deal with their moldy cheese problem. And in the process, forever scar a villager child who watches a giant slime get yeeted and body slammed amidst a field of floating slime balls of all its former friends. With enough slime slaying for one village, I continue towards a ruined nether portal, where the nearby chest gives me a 30-piece iron nugget set and a fire charge to cook them, like its own little Minecraft McDonald's. But with the sun setting, we barricade the door of a nearby villager house and catch some sleep to mark our first day of looting and pillaging.
Excuse me?
We wake up, head out, and slap a crafting table into a tree to put that borrowed wheat to use and make some bread for the long journey ahead of us. And we take a little bit more from a nearby chest just for good measure. Before leaving, we decide to head in and buy some arrows from a villager with emeralds we stole, since we'll end up needing them eventually when we fight the Ender Dragon. Another ruined nether portal buried in a lake of lava gives us a chest with even more iron nuggets and some gold food items, which I imagine can't be healthy for a Minecraft stick figure to eat. Another ruined nether portal gives us only a pair of obsidian blocks to end up making a portal of our own at some point in the future. And so it's the next village we go, where I decide to take more of the village's wheat, almost hit a bee in the process, and break it down to go ahead and trade it back to the farmers of the village for their own emeralds. But a nearby slime doesn't seem to like my extortion, so I teach him, and the villager, a lesson in interrupting a fair business deal.
Bruh.
Freddy's cousin even helps out. Turns out roughing up your clients doesn't really help with prices, but that doesn't dissuade me from abusing the system and selling the entire village's wheat back to them that they grew to begin with. To slightly balance out the village's now crippling economy, I purchase some more arrows, and the game decides to reward my generous act of charity by sending me in the direction of a nearby blacksmith and giving me a pair of diamonds and iron ingots. We put all of those newly found iron nuggets to use and decide to head inside and spend another night in the village, where a slime stands outside our door like a square-headed Jehovah's Witness. My new roommate for the night joins me on the other side, and another snooze brings another new day to this world. He stares me down in the morning, and I decide to take the hint and head on out to hit the road, finding another ruined portal in the wild. I grab some more iron nuggets, take the golden apple, while my character casually carries around 4 blocks of solid obsidian like a stick figure Hercules. This village's Freddy also seems to have a slime problem and launches them into the air like a NASA mission to the moon. Sure hope he's getting paid for that job. I spot a pillager outpost in the distance and head towards it, creating myself a shield and an iron pick to get ready for a little looting expedition of the tower. But the only thing that actually ends up spawning is a bunch of evil Squidward clones who all care way too much about shooting me and way too less about shooting each other in the process. And yet they tell us that AI is getting smarter. A slime crashes this bootleg episode of SpongeBob, and I take advantage of the chaos to let the pillagers slowly take down their own numbers before I decide to eventually move in and take out the whole pack once and for all. But the sheer amount of support on the last video helped me know that I'm not traveling alone in this super flat world with just me, myself, and this horde of bargain bin Squidwards. If you'd like to help to support the channel and distract me from my law school readings, consider subscribing, and tell me what sort of games or videos you'd like to see in the future. And with only a moderate amount of arrows sticking out of both myself, my armor, and the ground below, I hope to capitalize off the bootleg Squidward's bad AI and use one of their own crossbows against them. But a whole pack descends out of nowhere, and my shield is already almost broken from only 2 encounters of these Squidward packs. With my shield almost broken, I get close and personal to finish up this episode of SpongeBob, and once I finish, I drink some milk to clear myself of the bad omen effect, and turn to a nearby village to kick a farmer out of bed and sleep right in front of him. At least I got an achievement. The town librarian sells an enchantment book to help out with bows. You know, if I actually had one. And as is custom by now, I sell back some of the town's wheat to make some sweet, sweet emeralds. Another ruined portal lets me weigh my stick figure's pockets down with even more tons of obsidian, and with a plan to go to the nether, I start to collect gold to trade with the piglins. And I'm even dedicated enough to spend a whole minute mining a purple crying block to get it. Not just once, but twice. The map is giving me more gold items than I know what to do with, while at another nearby villager's blacksmith, I buy an enchanted iron sword to replace the one I've been using this whole time to hack and slash slimes. Because remember, shiny always means better. Taking a saddle from the blacksmith, I head under the shade of a tree under some pouring rain, where I get to work taming a horse, and feed him a little bit of wheat, hoping that this becomes a best friends forever situation. Oh hey, what do you know? Putting the saddle on him, I already have a significantly better mode of transportation than walking with my tiny little stick legs across this flat world. And so adventuring through the rain and the sun, I'm getting ever closer to my goal of finally reaching the end, and pick up some more supplies along the way at a ruined portal and another blacksmith's chest. Sure hope he wasn't using any of that iron for anything in the future. I pocket another iron sword like the main character in Skyrim, and decide that the time's finally come to head into the nether. And so, one architectural marvel, or catastrophe later, depending on who you ask, the portal is finally complete. And so I enter into a purple haze that warps me into even more purple haze.
Nice.
An Enderman was invited to hang out at the local piglin party, so I give him a one-way ticket back home, and he even drops an ender pearl as a thank you for my good deed. Finding a trading piglin nearby was fairly easy, and I start trading all of the gold ingots I've been collecting over the course of this adventure, where I just end up getting a bunch of fire-resistant potions and items I'll never actually bother to use even once during this whole playthrough. Glad I have another set of iron boots. Unlike our last Minecraft run, where I somehow missed a fortress that spawned directly behind the portal, I look up and see a fortress 50 feet above this time. So I bridge my way up, say hello to the fortress reception desk, and jump in, snagging a blaze rod and a little bit of diamond bling for my horse back home. I splash down a potion of fire resistance and decide to jump right in, charging forward and knocking out a bunch of blazes, test out my marksmanship skills across the bridge, and decide to head back down to the warp forest to farm out some endermen. All I need left is a single ender pearl to make 10 eyes of ender, and things are going great. Until they aren't. Because of my big lawyer brain, I had the good sense to set my spawn point directly outside the portal. So I head back in and rush over to collect my loot among the screaming endermen and piglins like the world's worst trip to the park. I get some revenge on both the piglin and the enderman who killed me from earlier, and decide to take out his buddy next to him just for good measure. Back in the real world, I bling out my horse in the kind of diamond armor that even I don't have the luxury of having, and do a little bit of crafting, making some eyes of ender, and replacing my armor for the final journey to the stronghold, wanting to make sure I'm at peak performance. I already almost lose my first eye of ender to a 1 block wide pit of lava, but it doesn't really matter now as I finally have the direction of the stronghold. On the way there, I do a little bit of inventory management and head in the direction of the stronghold before I finally come across the floating monstrosity that will bring me to the end. I steal enough beds from the local village to open up my own hotel, and go ahead and use the 3 diamonds from the village's blacksmith chest to make an enchanting table, wanting to enchant all the gear and weapons I have before the big fight with the Ender Dragon. You know, until I realize I have no lapis left to actually do that, and settle for a diamond sword instead. I give one final parting gift to the villagers in the form of a junk drawer, and ride off to the stronghold, where apparently the laws of physics don't matter, and structures can just float in the sky. One of the water elevators sends me up to a rather underwhelming achievement, given my lack of effort to actually find this place, and I get to work as a discount architect, putting together stone bridges and breaking buttons before I reach the final portal room. I build the final bridge into the main entrance, take out the silverfish spawner, not wanting to fall down at this height, and decide to use a bucket of water to take out the lava for safety reasons. Once the lava's gone, I walk around the edge of the portal, where I have the exact number of eyes needed to open the portal to the end. At this point, we're only one jump down to finally reaching the objective, and before we know it, we've done it. We've reached the end. I jump in and head into the final dimension that this Superflat world will take me. I use one of my handy-dandy spare ender pearls to quickly teleport up to the main platform, and before I know it, I get to work taking out the crystals dotted across the landscape that I'm sure you all know shield the Ender Dragon. The battle seems to be going pretty well. I get a few shots off and destroy a couple more crystals. And that is, until I hear a very angry warp behind me, and see a pair of endermen that are all too eager to ask me how my car warranty is going. I try to fight back and do a little teleporting of my own, and then I decide that maybe I should check out that warranty after all.